I had to have it.
I'm Thomas Allen. I'm an artist taking my lead from the image in an exploration of internal mindscapes and exploring our relationship with the land. And at the moment I'm working from this old pool house in preparation for a solo exhibition up in London. They get quite a bit of condensation on them, so maybe it was just... I'd say art has always been with me. As far back as I remember. I mean, when I was a kid and my parents wanted me to be quiet for a bit, they just give me pens and paper and I'd be away. It's always just absorbed me, image making, and to the point where I was discouraged from pursuing it academically because you know, it was recognised that I got so obsessed with it, I think, that I wouldn't put any effort into my other subjects if I did pursue it academically. So yeah, I ended up going down other paths at school, but with the growing desire to pursue art more fully, always practicing it in my free time. So I suppose, really long story short, when I finished university, where I studied sociology with economics, I decided, right, now I'm going to pursue follow my heart, really.
How would you best describe your style of work and how does it define you as an artist?
Well, I'd say I tread a line between the representational and the abstract. So you've got figures in there, but I'm also playing with abstracted forms and patterns, because it gives a scope for a certain poetic ambiguity. There's an open-endedness, which allows the viewer to dream into the work and sort of see aspects of themselves reflected in it. So I suppose that, yeah, as an artist, I'm interested in exploring internal mindscapes and how they relate to the external landscape. And so I'm trying to give a way for people to reflect on their own internal mindscapes through the work. And sometimes what I do is I kind of embody a tree. I kind of imagine myself becoming that tree. I sort of feel like, oh, maybe it stands like this, or sometimes they're, you know, I don't know, just have different attitudes in the way that they're stood. And that can give ideas for figures in the artwork. So you might have someone offering up something, or dancing. And sometimes, yeah, it comes from the shapes in trees and the way that trees are sort of holding themselves. A lot of this work is it's a war of attrition, just thousands of tiny marks. People have often compared it with sort of Aboriginal Australian work, where you get a lot of sort of dots and dashes and, you know, heavy use of pattern. And although I'm not entirely sort of consciously being influenced by that or trying to pursue that aesthetic, I think it stems from the fact that that we're probably both exploring similar things. You know, there's that exploration of mindscapes and the Aboriginal interest in sort of the dream world, and in fact, when I was researching for the contemporary cave painting project, I was reading about old prehistoric caves, and they were talking about sort of hallucinations and sensory deprivation. And so when you deprive someone of light for a long period, they start to hallucinate because their brain wants something to feed off of. and it usually begins with dots, and then the dots kind of join up into grids, and eventually you get figurative hallucinations. And interestingly, you see a parallel in these prehistoric caves. You often get near the mouth of the cave, you'll get these sort of abstract dots and zigzags and lines, and it's only in the really sort of deep chambers where you find the figurative work, the famous sort of aurochs painted onto the walls.
What's your proudest or best achievement in your career thus far?
I mean, another great, I suppose, achievement was the contemporary cave painting, which was a big project I did up in London several years ago now. And I pretty much lived in a room in a gallery, blacked out windows and doorways, working by the light of a handheld torch. And I had people come and give me scribbles. And it went on for about, a month. I was covering the walls with drawings, and it was such an experience, meeting so many interesting people and getting some insight into the mindscape of that neighbourhood. And it was a big undertaking, a lot of planning went into it, and I was, a bit sort of crazy by the end because I hadn't seen much sunlight for a month. But it was worth it. That's where a rat coughed up its last. Just a bit of blood. Yeah. I come at a piece of artwork with maybe a vague image in mind, a feeling, and then it's a dialogue. You're conversing with the image. You're in this dance of agency with the materials, with concepts and your own experiences, and it's all feeding into there in this sort of whirlpool of different actors, and what emerges is unexpected, and so there's this sort of poetry to it, that ambiguity of meaning that I speak about, in that the meaning isn't fixed for me even. There are ideas that crop up that I hadn't thought of at the beginning. And so when the viewer's looking at the work, I like them to be open with it, to be open to interpreting it and telling their own stories through it. Yeah.